Brad Bradley is having words with James Renner over on Twitter, or X. Here is his post and the comments that are between him and James Renner.
For 2 years, you've followed me down so many rabbit holes, chasing the secrets hidden away in dark places no one thinks to investigate. The closets that families fill to the brim, exploding with mysteries. But now, my life is undergoing major changes. A new country and a new closet to explore. Welcome to Rabbit from the Closet, where the secrets don't stay hidden for long. Every closet has two sides, the secrets inside and the stories people tell about them. And lately, one of those stories has been pushed forward by online investigator James Renner. In his recent YouTube and TikTok videos, Renner has claimed there's a break between himself and the Bradley family. He frames it as if this break stems from him asking hard questions about Amy's sexuality, specifically whether she was gay or bisexual. The way Renner presents it, the family supposedly distanced themselves from him because he touched on a sensitive topic. But is that the real story? Or is this another case of the narrative being shaped to fit a theory? Amy's brother Brad has already spoken out online, saying the family was fully aware of and accepting of Amy's bisexuality, and that they did address it in interviews, though much of the footage was cut from the Netflix documentary. So why is Renner pushing the idea that this is the point of conflict? And what does it mean for the investigation when a high-profile online figure starts making it about family secrecy instead of the evidence that points to trafficking? Tonight, we're opening that closet door to look at James Renner's role in Amy's case, his claims about the family, and why Brad Bradley is so frustrated with how these narratives are being shaped online.
I also knew going in there that I was going to have to talk about this little thing that I had uncovered about Amy being gay. And I had conversations with the documentary team, the showrunner and producer there, or researcher, two people from the show, and we had talked about how each of us were handling that information, because we knew it was critical and we knew it was dicey. And we both, I told them here's how I'm going to handle it. I'm going to be as respectful as possible, but I have this interview with them. I have to bring it up because this might be my only time that I'm going to sit down with them. And their interview, they had a final interview lined up with Iva and Ron that was going to occur after my interview. So there was some nervousness there, and for good reason. But I went in, I wanted to get some background on Amy, and then I saved that discussion for the end. And I absolutely did that because my biggest fear was that by talking about Amy's sexuality, they would cut off contact. And so we had a lovely discussion about Amy. Learned a lot about her and her family and their background. And again, it was great. Iva made some pulled pork sandwiches that were the best pulled pork sandwiches I've ever had. She took me out into her backyard. She's got a flower bed there for Amy. They showed me her Miata that's still parked in the garage. It was lovely. And then eventually I had to bring up Amy's sexuality. And when I did, the air went out of the room. Iva told me that she thought it was not something that should be discussed, that it wasn't important to the case. But I also knew going in there that I was going to have to talk about this.
So, James Renner, who's an online investigator, interviewed the Bradley family because he's actually busy writing a book about Amy's disappearance, and that's scheduled to come out in the summer of 2026. And during that interview, James asked the family about Amy's sexual preference. Renner says this appeared to make the Bradley family very uncomfortable. He suggests that the family wanted to avoid the subject, that they weren't ready to talk about Amy being gay or bisexual. But in opposition, Brad Bradley has this to say.
Documentary, as you know, said that your parents were unaccepting of Amy coming out as gay. I wanted to ask you, is that true?
No, Amy came out to myself and my parents in 1995, so about 3 years prior to the cruise. And I guess you could say there was some surprise. I guess my parents had to come to terms with the fact that she wouldn't be, a source of grandchildren for them, as you've learned. Neither have I. But all of that was well gotten past. Amy's girlfriends and boyfriends came to the house. Girlfriends spent the night. Girlfriends went on vacation with us. In fact, Molly was at my parents' house eating Easter dinner with us in 2024. So we were all accepting of Amy. We all loved her unconditionally, just as we always had. And whether there was a disgruntled ex with an axe to grind on there saying whatever she wants to say, just because a person says something doesn't make it a fact. And I've learned over the past month, especially online, it doesn't matter how many times I refute that nonsense. People are going to think what they're going to think, so have at it. But we had no issues within our family. There was no contention. There was no...
It turns out James Renner has a history of having tense relationships with true crime families, and this is played out in a public platform on his YouTube channel and other social media ventures in regards to the Maura Murray case. Renner wrote a book about Maura's disappearance, and many true crime followers were very unhappy with how he handled his relationship with Maura's father. This is something we'll be discussing in a later episode. Now Renner is having a pretty big problem that seems to be escalating with Brad Bradley, as the two of them also came to blows on their social media accounts on X.
Brad Bradley is having words with James Renner over on Twitter or X. Here is his post and the comments that are between him and James Renner.
Brad Bradley posts, "Hey James Renner, please contact us at amybradleyismissing@gmail.com. We would like to know if you would share Oscar Alexander's contact information with us. It would be very helpful in our investigation. You want to help us, right? I'll be sure to let the world know that you reached out to help, or didn't." All right, now this is a very loaded post, and it's regarding the fact that James Renner interviewed the main suspect's roommate. So Alistair, also known as Yellow, had a roommate named Oscar aboard the Rhapsody of the Seas. And Oscar did a personal interview, sat down for an interview with James Renner when he traveled to the Caribbean to interview Alistair as well. And in this post, Brad Bradley, who was already kind of at odds with Renner, is indicating that he's very frustrated Renner put this interview out without giving him all of the information because he's trying to find his sister. And it's very frustrating to him to have investigators doing their own investigations and not sharing the information with him. Now you can see below that James Renner says, "I have no problem giving you this information. I can send it to a journalist you might like." He brings up how he doesn't want to send it to a Fox News-based journalist. This will come up later. And later down in the thread, Brad Bradley actually responds, "Hey, no problem. I just wanted you to send it to us so we can give it to our investigators. I don't want it given to another journalist. I just want to see the information for myself. And by the way, it doesn't matter because I already had the information, James." So James comes back with are you kidding me? So you already had the information. Why are you making this a big deal? You're doing this just because you don't like me. And their relationship continues to disintegrate online.
See, this is where I get confused. I don't understand why it has to be their narrative, the Bradleys, and their narrative only. I understand what they believe, but they can't make the rest of the world believe that. And in my opinion, what is James Renner saying that's so bad? And I'm not sticking up for James Renner. I know a lot of people have problems with the way he handled Maura Murray's case. I'm just saying in this particular case, he just has a different theory than the Bradleys. And honestly, half of the time, I don't believe or agree with either of their theories, Renner or Bradley. Some days, I think she just walked off that ship herself, and we will never know the reasons. I don't know, what do you guys think about all this?
Personally, I think the Bradley family has dealt with a whole lot of bullshit for a very long time, and they just miss the hell out of their daughter/sister. Whatever happened before, whatever problems they had as a family, back in the 90s, it was not as readily accepted as it is now to have a gay or bisexual daughter or sister. It wouldn't surprise me if there were some issues revolving around that. They claim that there isn't an issue, but I'm sure that there were, and there is some evidence there were issues within the family. But still, when your daughter disappears and you don't see her for over 20 years, none of that is going to matter anymore. What matters is trying to find her, and they've been given a second opportunity. The biggest opportunity that's come around since the unsolved mystery days, and they want to grab it and take advantage of it in any way, shape, and form that they can. And to have people with big platforms like James Renner going out there and talking about the case in a way that insinuates that Amy may have just jumped overboard, there's no need to keep looking, this family's crazy, they have their own problems, there's nothing going on here that's really mysterious. That is kind of the vibe that I think James has put out on some of his social media. I'm sure it would rub the family the wrong way. This is their daughter that we're talking about. And the fact is that the Bradleys got royally screwed by the cruise line that left them on the beach at Curacao as it floated away, heading off to its next destination. If that ship would have been locked down the moment they noticed that Amy was missing, this family would not be dealing with so many questions and secrets and ongoing desperation to find their child. They would at least have known whether or not Amy was taken off the boat. And in those few precious moments that the people in charge decided to not close the boat down and let all of the passengers off in Curacao, the Bradley family lost any chance they had of knowing for sure what happened to their daughter. And it turns out there may be valid reason why Brad Bradley should be weary of James Renner.
Welcome back to the Midnight Mystery Archive. I had some concerns when I saw that James Renner was starting to investigate and interject himself into the Amy Bradley case. And he is the walking epitome of a broken clock being right twice a day. He might do one or two things that are very good for the case, but in general, his MO is he attacks the family. He did the exact same thing in the Maura Murray case, casting some of the most obscene, disgusting aspersions I've ever seen. And frankly, his involvement in the Amy Bradley case, in my view, it was just a matter of time before he went and did the exact same thing. And whoa, wouldn't you know, he doesn't like that the family cut him off, just like happened in the Maura Murray case where they didn't work with him and they immediately became his target. I would highly encourage anybody who is looking for answers in the Amy Bradley case to ignore anything that this guy writes or says. Let him do the few good things he'll do right, like interviewing Yellow and Yellow's roommate. But after that, disregard it.
Right now, TikTok is raging over the feud between two sides in the Amy Bradley case, those who side with James Renner and those who support Brad Bradley. The debates are loud, messy, and sometimes cruel. And here's what I think is the really unfair part. Many of the people defending Renner aren't just debating theories about Amy, they're attacking Brad for his personal right-leaning political views that he's shared on his personal social media.
Documentary on Netflix, and I did a deep dive into her family because they were super weird and found out they are a bunch of Trump supporters, and that tracks. I want to preface this video by saying that nobody should go through what that family is going through with Amy being missing. but also nobody should go through having a family who is unsupportive of them being gay. And this documentary is the first time anyone has learned that she was actually gay, and this case has been going on since 1998. The family was just so weird to me. Like, the mom kept on talking about how if Amy came home and they found out that there were children, she would be so happy, not like seeming to grasp the idea that if Amy were pregnant as a gay woman, that how those children came to be would not be a good thing. The dad wrote an ex-girlfriend a 3-page letter talking about how disappointed he was that Amy is gay. Like, I did a deep dive. Speed's brother is truly a piece of shit. He's been a Trump supporter since the very beginning. He calls black women speed bumps. On a tweet about migrants crying because of everything that is fucking happening, he tweeted, "I'm not sure which is more thirst quenching, liberal tears or illegal immigrant tears." And then to get a little bit of flavor of how he feels about the LGBTQ community, he thinks that Michelle Obama is trans.
But I want to be clear. For me, this isn't about politics. It isn't about left or right or who you agree with on unrelated issues. This is about a missing person. This is about Amy Bradley, a young woman who vanished from a cruise ship in 1998 and whose family has been searching for her ever since. Whether or not they're Republican or Democrat, they love their daughter and they just want to know what happened to her. Brad's political opinions have nothing to do with his fight to find his sister. To drag that into the conversation is not only unfair, it's a distraction from the truth and the investigation. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters here is Amy. The evidence, the leads, the theories that could bring answers, those are the conversations we should be having. Every minute spent tearing Brad down for his politics is a minute stolen from Amy's case. So if TikTok wants to rage, let it rage about the fact that a woman disappeared from a cruise ship and may have been trafficked. Let it rage about why answers have been so hard to find. But let's not forget, this isn't a political debate. It's a human one. It's about bringing Amy Bradley out of the closet and into the light of truth. So as of right now, here's where things stand with the Amy Bradley case. James Renner is online pushing his new theories and even framing the Bradley family as a family full of secrets, avoiding questions. Brad Bradley is pushing back with new evidence and a determination to keep his sister's truth alive. It's become a feud that TikTok, YouTube, and X can't stop debating, but at the heart of it, we can't lose sight of what matters most. This isn't about internet drama. It's not about who's right on social media. It's about Amy Bradley, a daughter, a sister, and a woman who vanished in 1998. Here on Rabbit from the Closet, it's what we do. We strip away the noise and expose the secrets that stay hidden in the dark. And in our next series, we're opening a completely different closet door, one filled with its own shadows. We'll be diving into Christine Brown's new book and exposing the hidden truths of polygamy, control, and the secrets she's finally bringing into the light. Because whether it's a cruise ship disappearance or the inner world of polygamous families, secrets can't stay locked away forever. I'm Rabbit, and this has been Rabbit from the Closet. Stay tuned. The next door we open might change the way you see everything.